yeah, Carbondale is amazing. And my favorite place to eat is Sam's Cafe. Gotta love the gyros, man. Gotta love the gyros.
And that is a telltale sign of like how old somebody is. Like if somebody
Yes.
tells you my favorite restaurant is Flame or Global Gourmet or whatever, you're like, all right, you're an older person with some money. But if somebody tells you that that their favorite restaurant is Sam's Cafe, it's like,
Yes.
all right, now we're getting into the more youthful perspective on Carbondale.
Yes. Yes.
I love that, man. I love that. And then with the the more useful, probably a more useful perspective too. With the more youthful perspective on Carbondale, I welcome my guest for episode 8, Cleva Fitzgerald. Carbon, God, I'm butchering the intro again. I don't even care. WTF Carbondale is the podcast where we talk to interesting people about their interesting lives, and we tie it all together with this little place that we love and call home here in Carbondale, Illinois. Cleva Fitzgerald,
How's it
welcome
going?
to the studio, my new friend.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for reaching out, dude. Like I didn't have I never know what to expect when somebody reaches out and they're like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about everything that you're doing." It's like it could be awful.
Yes.
like
Yes.
but seldom have I had it be awful. I'm just always real apprehensive. But like you hit me up and you were like, "Hey man, I like what you're doing. I want to talk to you more about it," which we'll do off camera. But then I was like, "Hey, without even getting that far, do you want to do the podcast?" And you were like, "Yeah." So let's start off the way we start off the
yeah.
podcast. How'd you get to Carbondale?
I was born here in Carbondale, but never really had the Carbondale feel. I was raised over in Mounds, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know where that is. It's a little bit about an hour south of Carbondale.
Uh-huh.
And one day my mom was just like, "Hey, let's just go back to our hometown," and that's how I got back here.
Nice, man.
And it was a really big culture shock to me. Big culture shock.
Because Mounds is pretty tiny, isn't it?
Yes, Mounds is pretty tiny. And with that being said, everyone was my cousin. So I didn't have the pleasure to meet new people and having friends and stuff like that until I got to Carbondale.
Good. Well, I'm glad you were able to get here and to make new friends. Do all that. Now,
Yes.
is Mounds the home to like all the different like the indigenous peoples, like like architecture sites and stuff like that?
Yes. We have is Mounts, and then is Mount City,
Uh-huh.
and then is Cairo, and is right next to, and there's a lot of historical places there that you like to go and sightsee if you're into things like that.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I just remember making sure that I had my towns correctly. But
Yes.
remember, like as a kid, like that's where we would go on field trips too, because it was like this really big deal historical site. Like so, within a day's drive, like you can load up kids on a bus in the morning, have them back by 3:00 to send them home with their parents later in the day. So
Yes.
it always came together. When did you come back to Carbondale?
I came back my 7th grade year. I came back. I'm bad with years. I don't remember the
Man,
year, but
You're in your mid-20s, man. They just
yeah.
go away from here. That's it.
But yeah, I came back my 7th grade year, and like I said, it was a culture shock. So when I attended that school, it was way bigger, way more people, and it was hard for me to interact with other people because I was kind of nervous because there was so many people. But once I started playing basketball, that's when everything changed.
Nice. So you were a Terrier then?
I was.
Legit.
Yes.
Legit.
Yes.
I was class of 2007. I was the first class to go like all 4 years in the new school.
Yes.
Like we were the ones that like didn't get to know what open campus was. And I'm guessing they still didn't have open campus by the time you would have been in high school.
No, still no open campus.
No fun. Who were some of your favorite teachers? Now we're gonna play that because I haven't had a chance to have that talk with somebody yet and be like, hey, you're a little bit younger than me. I want to know who you liked as teachers and who maybe there was crossover. I don't know.
In middle school, it was probably my science teacher, Mr. Garth. It was definitely him because he had pet snakes in his classroom, and nice. I always loved looking at that while doing my homework and stuff like that. High school, I had a lot of favorite teachers in high school. I can't really off the top of my head.
That's okay.
But yeah, I had a lot of favorites in high school. Definitely
Just
did.
blanket. Anybody that sees it out there, pick up. Now you don't have anybody fighting over. Oh, I
Yeah.
wasn't Cleva's favorite. What the heck, man?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. So basketball. Did you do any other sports? Anything else?
Yeah. In middle school, I ran track. And then over in high school, I just did basketball. I believe I ran track for a little bit. I did a little club. You know, I'm a nerd, so I did architectural club and stuff like
nice.
that, which was pretty cool. Architectural class and the robotics class shared the class together, so I got to see, the robots being built and stuff like that. So it was pretty neat.
Have you gotten to do any other stuff outside there, like different summer camps at SIU or anything like that, or just clubs inside high school?
We did whenever I was in architectural class. We did like an international thing. We competed in Chicago, against like third world countries and Texas and people like that. And we basically built like a life model of a building, and we competed against that.
I like that, man.
It was pretty neat.
Is this something like a passion that you've grown into and still have, or have you taken a different direction?
I took a different direction. A lot of people do that, and it's crazy because I really, really loved using programs and 3D rendering and stuff like that to build buildings. That was my passion until I got out of high school, and and I seen that it just wasn't feasible in this area as an architect.
Yeah.
So I kind of steer away from that. So
nice.
yeah.
What did you steer into?
I steered into more of a it was more, I got more business savvy. As I grew, I knew that that was more important, and so I got I steered away from that and got into the things that I was really, really, really passionate about and more hidden that I really didn't tell a lot of people about until recently. Yeah.
Nice. And that's one of the things that really impressed me. even it was kind of like, well, hey, you just want to do the podcast, and then I started doing a little bit digging and looking around. I was like, oh, cool. So just another person running around with hundreds of thousands of followers in their pocket, like it's not a thing.
Yeah, that's it shocked me as well when I got into it, and I was kind of scared to come out with what I was dealing with throughout my life. But when I did, I was definitely not expecting what happened.
Yeah.
As you were saying.
So let's kind of start from even the beginning of it and share what you are comfortable with, and don't feel like you have to share to an extent that you're not, right. I'll sit here and I'll be the first to tell you, we can have an empathetic conversation about it, because I myself have struggled with my own particular issues, with depression, and mental health issues. So like, I may not know exactly what you've been through, but I can connect on that level. But at the same time, this is going out to a broader audience, and everybody's comfortable having their discussion at the level that they do. So, if it's more about the platform than it is about, specifically where you're at, that's spectacular. So however you want to go from it, but start from the point that you want to start at.
Oh yeah, sure. So let's start in the very beginning. When I realized that, it was a problem. And so I dealt with a lot of depression more than anxiety. And it was really tough for me throughout, my small ages, when I was still in Mounts. And, I was not going to lie, man. I was poor, living in, non-affordable home, houses, stuff like that. Yeah. And it was tough for my mom. And me being a little child, it was hard for me because I couldn't do anything. I wasn't old enough to go work and help my mom out with those situations. So it made me really depressed, and so it kind of followed my depression. Kind of followed me all the way to Carbondale, and so then as I got older, I got to thinking, what if I'm not the only one?
Yeah.
That is dealing with this type of mental illness. And so I did some research and. Come to find out, I'm not the only one. So my idea was to create a community or a place where someone can go and not feel judged or not feel, less of a person or, not, just be themselves.
Yeah.
So I created this thing and I was like, depression free. And, I ran with it. I created a logo and stuff. And for a while, I was afraid that it wasn't going to do good. I kept stopping. I was like, let me put this to the side. People are not going to, see this and they're not going to appreciate this and, just stuff like that. And so then I kind of got over that and was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try this. And that happened, I want to say about 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
I created this.
Okay.
And fast forward 6 months later to now, I'm able to reach over 30 million people, and that alone motivates me in my life to do positive things, to do better, and to keep my head on the right shoulder. Because just knowing that someone understands, and not just someone, like the whole world. I've reached so many people, and that helped me with my situation as well. Like, of course I'm not perfect and I have different situations, different things that I do, that are not, perfect. And so that me creating this depression free helped me in that situation to be a better person, to put it all together to be a better person. So my plan is to bring it locally more and start having events like food drives and clothing drives to help people that didn't have a home and people that's struggling really bad. That's something that I want to do in the future. Yeah.
Do you want to try and like draw people in and even like develop beyond these mechanisms to like deliver mental health resources to and like get people to just feel comfortable, like, hey,
Yes.
people may be used to going and doing this activity or that activity and reaching out for a particular type of help that feels like it's connected to their physical body, right? Food or
Yes.
clothes or something. But then one step further and be like, hey, there's a whole nother level of mental health that needs addressed.
Yes.
If you're having to ask for help with this or that particular item, that there may be some trauma associated with it that has taken you one step further. That's like people aren't talking to you about another need that you have.
Right.
So
I get that. Yeah, that is something I am looking into as well. I got some things in the work. Don't want to spoil it.
I hear you.
But so I got some things in the works to where I will be able to give more help rather than being there physically and just helping them with the things that they need to get by in life. And I'm trying to get together where they can contact somebody or like have some type of hotline where they can come and just talk and just let it all out and don't be afraid, and hope we have like me, my ears are open and I don't discriminate. I love every soul, so you come to me, I'm more than happy to open my ear and just listen to you. I also too have a surprise for everyone too, into that depression free world. I am coming out with some products as well. More like calming type things. Like depression free bracelets or something that you can wear or something that you can put on so that you would have that on, and it's like a mechanism to make you, not necessarily make you, but you feel at ease and you feel safe, you feel comfortable as you continue your day and stuff like that.
Something you just play with, tinker with, like something that
Yes.
gives a little bit of sensory input, just something to even fidget with, like, oh, I feel nervous, like
Yes.
I can I can
Yes.
pull on this or I can play with that or whatever it may be. And
Almost like the old school fidget spinners.
there are some people out there still going, what's he mean old school fidget spinners? I thought this was still the cool thing.
Oh no.
That's neat, man. So this has kind of developed even further into an idea of helping people, but a business component too, and something that you just want to kind of run with. Like 6 months
Yes.
though, man. Like
Yeah.
I was expecting I've maybe got 13,000 people on a Facebook page in like a 4-year span, nothing crazy. But you're over here like, oh yeah, just 6 months, I got over 400,000 followers and reach 30 million people. And like, what does that feel like? That rapid growth, and like just to see the numbers tick up, and just being like, wow, people, like I'm having some kind of impact on people's lives right now. Like they see what I share, and it makes them feel a particular way, and I hopefully hope for the better.
Yes, I mean it feels almost surreal, like ain't no way a person in Carbondale, little old me, is reaching out to somebody in Cambodia and Africa and places that you never thought they had internet. And it just blows my mind, and that it what's motivates me to continue to do, because I think in my head like, okay, if this is really helping people out, me posting consistently every day positive quotes, someone might be going through a tough breakup, or someone just lost their job and they just come across this quote that I just posted, and they're like, oh, okay, let me put these meds down, or oh, let me put this down, and let me, maybe this is a sign to where not to give up.
Yeah.
And just that right there alone is incredible to me. It's I can't explain the feeling. It's just amazing.
No, I mean it's the impact of communication, and how
Yes.
communication has been individualized, right? It used to have to be, a group of people putting together a newspaper, or
Yeah.
creating a television broadcast show or radio or whatever else. But now it's like,
It's crazy.
as a single person, you can just pick up your phone and make something, and what you make can have profound impact.
Yes. It's crazy. This technology has grown so fast that you're able to do that stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And to, like you said, to be able to just do it here. Like,
Yes. Do it here in Carbondale, out of all places. Like, majority of people that's on my page don't even know where Carbondale is.
Yeah.
And for me, being here in a small town compared to other places,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
it's just it's great, because I want to bring something to Carbondale that a lot of people probably have been struggling with in Carbondale for years, and we just don't know it because it's so underground that nobody really want to talk about it, because it's deep, and it can be dark at some point, but at the end of the day, it just has to be talked about in order for it to get solved.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and I'm going to ask you like a really point blank question on this, because I think it's one thing to be a guy and talk about mental health issues, right? But add the layer of being a black man
yes.
and talking about mental
Yes.
health issues, like, dude.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's tough, because I give a short example. I was talking to a guy, one of my friends, and at the job that I work at, and he's Caucasian, and we were talking and stuff, and we were just like, man, how's your page doing? How's your depression free movement going? And I was like, it's going really well, and I was kind of telling briefly about my story and what I went through, and he was like, really, man? He's I never had to do that, and I never lived in that situation, and I never really had to struggle, so
Yeah.
I can't tell you how that will feel, and I'm like, yeah, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
If you were in my shoes, if only you knew, but it could be tough at times, especially with me being a black man. It definitely can be tough talking about this situation, and a male as well, because I get and I get thousands of inbox every day about people's situations and their life stories, and I try to get to them all as much as possible, but it's kind of hard.
Oh yeah.
But when I do, and I tell them like, hey, I'm a male, I'm a black man, and they're like, whoa, really? Oh man, I thought you were a 30-year-old white girl, or something crazy like that. I'm like, no, I'm definitely a black man, and I definitely have same situations and same depression and anxiety that most women go through, and it's always targeted to, well, it's just women that go through those situations. Like, men are strong enough, they'll be fine, and little do they know we have the same feelings.
Yeah.
we have the same emotions and we hurt just the same as females.
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's interesting that you're like, hey, I'm a black man. Like, this is not, I'm not a, I'm not, like an 18-year-old white girl behind this page,
Please.
like flowery quotes and like all this other things, man. It's like we all can use a little bit of bubble bath every now and then, man.
Yeah. Like, I posted something on my page and it had everything to do with females. And it was something that like another female would post because it was so relatable to them. And I like to look at my comments just to see what's going on. And one of the comments was something weird, but it was like, it was a guy. He was like, well, guys hurt too, and and I was like, in my head, I was like, man, this is just a female post, related to females at this moment.
Yeah,
that's it. But anyways, the guy commented, was like, yeah, maybe this might be a girl running this page because it's so relatable to girls and it's all about girls, blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, if only you knew that I'm a black man running this page. I promise you I can relate.
And I mean, beyond that, like you're looking to have relatable content for any and everybody.
Yes, any and everybody. Any and everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. I post stuff strictly for females. I post stuff strictly for men. Sometimes strictly for, if, like, for example, the guy from what's it called? Black Panther, the one that just
Chadwick
passed away.
Boseman.
Yeah, that guy. I made a post about him just to give my respects to him and his family, and that was just strictly for a black cultural thing, because it's a black movie, and when he died, a lot of black people were affected by it because he was their superhero, So just things like that. I try to make a point to cover everybody instead of just one person.
So you're getting all these inboxes all the time. Like, is there a thought of like, okay, well, I mean, and I hadn't even thought, you're talking about, well, how do I set up ways to help people write a call line, or even just putting another couple people behind the keyboards to be able to answer people and like, hey, it's going to be all right. Like, somebody's here to listen to you, even if I'm just somebody through the computer. Like, sometimes the person that you don't know at all, right? The person that you may have just made up in your mind that's behind this page, right, is exactly the person that you need to talk to, because you can't talk to your friends or your family or your peers or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I feel like when someone inboxes me about a situation, 9 times out of 10, I relate to them because it's, revolved around... This page was revolved around my issues and what I've been through. And when they inbox me, I can relate to them and I can talk more comfortably with them because they understand. Rather than, I go to my mom and I tell her about a situation and she just like, what? Like, what are you... You're a man. Like, you're not supposed to go through this this situation. But just... different people. Like, for example, I have a friend that don't understand depression or mental illnesses, and I try to talk to him about it, and he's just like, "Yeah, man, you're not. I'm enjoying my pizza, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is not really important to me." And I'm like, "All right, then, cool."
It's like, bro, but it's important to me, man. Like, come on.
But I mean, it's tough. Even now with me having this page, it's still tough. When I talk to someone and I try to open up to them, it can get tough. I always throw up that security wall that everybody has, and I do that from time to time too.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, and ultimately, I mean, you are on the wide world of the internet, right? And you got to keep some sort of distance, right? Yeah, you want to help people, but you got to maintain a little bit of a little bit of personal safety and security. on that end too. So that's reasonable.
I definitely agree on that one.
I get it completely, man. No, I'm enthralled by this because this is, obviously our first conversation together. So as you're talking to me, I'm having things just fire off in my head and just going, okay, cool. Well, here's what I see in this and that. And, something we'll have a little bit more in depth of a conversation later when we're not on camera,
Right.
the, like just finding ways of, what you want to do to support, additional activity that you think you can provide. I mean, and figuring out what some of the mechanisms are that are already in place that you can just like tie yourself right into, right? I can imagine what benefit an organization like Centerstone that has a 5-state footprint or whatever it is that, is this massive nonprofit that gets millions of dollars in grant funding to help people with all types of issues, whether it's substance abuse or, different types of mental health issues or, whatever, right now as they're helping people with, I'm sure different pandemic related things, like so much activity there. It's like, well, what are your next steps? Shucks, if you've only been doing this for 6 months, you've shown people what you can do in building an audience. Right. Now, how do you show people what you can do in refining that? You bring on people that are already kind of the heavy hitters in the local environment about that, and then now you're at a different level of making content.
And it's crazy because a lot of people that sees this are like, oh man, like that had to have been really easy. I'm like, no. Like starting something like this is really, really time consuming, and I work for FedEx, and
nice.
So
I'm
a delivery driver. Yeah,
no, that's dude in your mid-20s making FedEx money. Like, I hope you're making decent FedEx money.
Oh yeah.
They're like, okay, see, dude, you're on. Like,
but
I wish I had been that smart.
It's crazy because me working for FedEx, and as you know, we in this pandemic right now, and it's been going on for months, and it's almost never ending, and it's affected me because I'm a delivery driver, and most of these stores are closed early or not open. Tis the season coming real soon, Christmas, and the online sales will shoot up. So that makes me more busier and less time for what I have to do on the side, with my movement, but I still make time. Yeah. And that's how important it is to me. And it's a lot of people's like, it's easy, but no, it's not easy because I have to network, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to set it's a lot of puzzles you have to piece together in order for it to move smoothly.
You got any kids yet?
I have one.
Oh man, I was getting ready to tell you, like, take all that time that you don't have not having kids. I had my first. I had my kid when I was 20. My wife had our stepkids when she was 20 as well. So I also get how much time you can lose. Yeah, you can in that prime youth to be. I say lose. How much time you invest in your kids and being a dad. So boy or girl?
It is a boy.
Boy, nice.
It is
how old?
Boy. He is 6.
6? Oh, that's legit, man.
It's good. Definitely legit.
You're just out of diaper changing age, and you only got a little bit more of cleaning up the toilet seat age left before you get.
Right. It definitely is, and like you were saying about the time thing, man. With me being young, I'm still in my mid-20s, and staying in a party college town. And you would think that every Friday my thing to do is go to levels or go to tracks or wherever and turn up with my guys, and that is, I used to do that, not going to lie, but it grows on you. And then when you realize that it's more to it than just that, and, you just have to get out there and just grind and make something out of nothing. And that's basically what I did. And so that's what motivates me as well too,
No, that's good, man. And it's always, you'd be surprised, especially being a young parent, like when you get in a conversation with people and they're like, you're just a kid, and then you're like, and I have a kid, and all of a sudden it just changed. They're like, okay, you're a young person who is involved and engaged in parenting and yada yada yada. All of a sudden now, like, people that are 35, 40, 50, whatever it may be, look at you differently as a young person because you have like the responsibility.
Yes,
that
that
people
is
are
the
used to.
number
Whether
one.
whether you're day-to-day dad, whether you're shelling out child support and just grinding
Right.
to make sure that that the kids got clothes and food and all that fun stuff. It's like whatever it may be, it's like everybody's parenting situation is their own unique thing.
Right.
I'm going to throw out a piece that you need to build on top of the depression-free movement.
Yeah.
You need to build like the parent-free movement on top of the depression-free
Nice.
movement, man. That's how you just finding your offshoots to keep going. Because I think that can fit in the same world of like, motivational quotes and like kind of generally consumable content that's like broadly relatable. Like the parent stuff is where to go.
Yeah,
So-
man, I'm gonna create that like in the next 2 hours, and
There you go. I'll hook you up too.
I'll
I got
dedicate it
some
to
local
you.
people that run the parent groups that like have been doing the parent social media thing for like 5-10 years
Oh,
now.
man.
Like know how this stuff goes. Doing parent social media is a whole different
I bet
world.
it is. I bet it
To
is.
like, man, I just big ups to the people out there that may be listening to this and you know who you are.
Oh yeah,
that,
big ups to you.
that do the parent stuff. I mean, because you're always competing. It almost seems like I would say the difference between the two in the world of depression free, people are looking for you to give them
Yes.
the insight. In the parent world, people want to give you the insight, and you regurgitate that, thinking that other people are. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I've gone down a rabbit hole that I didn't mean to go down.
It's all right, man.
No, I dig that. I love that. So how? Getting a little bit offshoot, we don't have to go too deep into it. But you talk about working for FedEx and still having to work through the pandemic. I mean, has that been something that has upped the concern level? Like in your mind, like day to day, you have to go through stuff and the way that you interact with folks and the way that you do at work. How does that affect your feelings as they are now?
Man, let me tell you.
And take a pass if you need to. If you're like, I'm not trying to get fired, but no.
It's definitely challenging because with the pandemic going on, you have to stay safe and healthy, and then also you have no other choice, kind of, but to be out in the mess because I'm needed.
Yeah.
And without me, they might not get their medicine. They might not get their their mixtape or whatever. I don't know.
FedEx, that's the new slogan: medicine and mixtapes. It's I'm on board.
But it's definitely challenging because you definitely have to have that the mindset of it could happen to you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are just like, oh no, like it only happens to old people, and I'm young and I can get it, but I can fight through it because I'm younger, and a lot of people do that, but they don't really understand how serious it is, and that's definitely mentally can mess me up from time to time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, hey, I gotta get out there, gotta get after it. Because if I can't do it, then nobody won't get their package. Nobody won't get their package.
That's right. You're here to deliver, man. I'm on
Yes,
board.
sir.
I love it. So kind of backtracking to the depression free movement. Have you created? Is it mainly focused on the Facebook page, or have you developed offshoots and other vehicles as well? Like, do you have followings in other spaces? Did you kind of put together? Or is it really focused on the big one?
So I veered off. It's still on Facebook. It's not a page, but it's a group.
Okay.
It's more dialed in. It's more like smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 7,000 people on that page, but
Nice.
It's more smaller, and is that way because I want to be able to be more in depth with the people that need it.
Yeah.
And it also give them the opportunity to share their stories, because on my Facebook page, I'm the one giving the positive content. I'm the one pushing the content out there for other people to see.
Yeah.
Rather than on the group, they can just post freely, and then like, hey, I can't sleep at night. I'm worrying about this. What can I do? And everybody else on the group can comment on different tips and tricks to help them to have better night's sleep and stuff like that.
Nice. And I get that's so that is the probably one of the more relatable things that we've got between our two platforms, right? Is that was very much kind of the position that I took when I launched the group, which was, right now just the page is me broadcasting,
Right.
kind of like you were there, like, hey, it's just me pushing out to folks, but it's like,
Right.
hey, I can only do so much of this,
Yeah.
right? Like, I need the group mind. I need the people that support the broadcast component to come in and start supporting each other.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So I dig that.
Because
a lot.
sometimes I won't be there. I get busy and I forgot to schedule a post or forgot to post, and they need that post. Well, they can go to the group and post something for some type of comfort temporarily until I get back, or like just something permanently. They can just post on there and just get any type of feedback. And I try my best. And this is, I put an emphasis on this because I try my best to make sure this group is as private as possible.
Yeah.
So I made it to where the only way you can get into it is if you're invited to it, or you run across it, and if you join it, you got to ask some questions, answer some questions, and at the end of the day, it's up to me whether or not you get approved into that group, because I want the security for the other folks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it goes down to the judging and stuff like that, because I don't want just a random person from Pakistan jump in there wanting to promote and scam somebody, and they see that and automatically it's not secure. So.
Well, you got the other side of it too, man. I mean, people are posting like sensitive stuff that they want people to empathize and feel back with them about. They don't just want to feel like they're going to post something they're just going to get attacked because of it. Oh, well, your feelings aren't valid. Get over it, man. It's like, you want people to be.
Yes, I want, and I
7,000 of you.
Right, and I want people to take, and it's the thing of it is when I got this today, actually, I had an inbox. It was some woman from, where was she from? I want to say she was from Texas, maybe California, and she inboxed. She was like, "Hey, I just noticed that this person in the group has screenshotted my post and reposted it on their page." And she was like, the rule says, and I was like, yeah, I understand. I'm really, really sorry. And I dealt with it. I contacted that person and was like, hey, can you please take this down?
Yeah.
If you don't take it down, then I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to kick you out the group, because that's against the rules.
Yep.
But I try to be tight knit with the group, you know what I'm saying? So that way they could feel some sense of security there.
That's good. That's good. Did that person ultimately take that post down, or did you have to take them out the group?
They actually responded back to me. I didn't have to take them out. They was like, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't read Rule 3. It won't happen again. I was like, okay, well that's fine, but please don't do it again, please, because this is really sensitive information.
No, that's it, man. I mean, people. Yeah. People being willing to share that. And again, I love, going back to what we said earlier, the total strangers thing, man.
Yeah.
To know that for a lot of people, that's just it. If they can get it out, that's how they get through it.
Right. And a lot of people got different coping mechanisms. They through a group or through some type of service or some type of therapy, or some of them are something physical. They can put a bracelet on and make them feel strong and, comfortable and more powerful and more secure with themselves, So different people got different ways of, coping with that stuff.
Have you ever thought about like getting like going to school and like professionally looking into like psychology or psychiatry or social work or whatever it may be? Like, is that something that interests you?
Yeah. It actually do, because and the reason why, and it actually happened 3 days ago. Awesome. I'm not gonna say any names or anything like that.
No, for sure.
But someone told me, why are you doing this for? You're not a professional.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know everything. so why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I never said I was a professional, and I never said I know everything. I just know what I've been through. And with that being said, I just want to, share with the world what I've been through and let them know that you're not the only one. And so that kind of was like, you know what? I didn't get mad at the person. And I was just like, you know what? That just motivate me even more to go to college now and get this license. So I was like, man, I'm going to Google. And I went to Google and was like, how to, how many years does it take to, be a psychologist, or how many years does it take to be a therapist? And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do this.
Good.
I'm gonna show that person. But but I've never been that person. But sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that off person, that negative person, or whoever that don't, because like I said, at the end of the day, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people got different views on things. I get that, but that's it. That's all. I can't be mad at them.
Yeah.
About that, but my life goes on and it's not gonna affect my life.
Well, and ultimately, I mean, there's plenty of people out there that make a living just like being a motivational speaker, right? People that are do this stuff for 20 years but never get any like professional licensing about it, and like that's one thing. But you've been doing this for like 6 months. It started as a thing that was really focused on, okay, well, how can you kind of help people but also help yourself in the process,
right?
And if amateurism, which leads to a level of professional development and like gets you on this path to like go to these next stages, and all of a sudden now you've got your first level degree here. I don't know anything about that world, so I don't know what degree is what, and associates, a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, whatever it may be. But like you start out and you're just gonna learn and pick up and be like, oh man, here's now I can amplify the way that I help people more and more. All of a sudden it's Dr. Fitzgerald of the depression-free movement, and now who's credible, whoever had something to say earlier. No.
No, but I mean, like I said, like you said, I've only started this a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's a time thing. It takes time, and I'm blessed that it grew as fast as it did. And it's just it's a time thing. I'm taking steps.
Yep.
One step here, one step there, one step there, and I'm the type of person that set goals for myself. Like I was at a zero followers. I was like, okay, my goal is 5K. My goal is 20K. My goal, and then all the way up to 400K. And I was like, okay, now my goal is 500,000 by the end of December. And I set it so high and I set it so close because it kind of like pushed me to like, keep being strong and keep going through with this instead of like slacking off and eating cheeseburgers every day and just saying, that can be fine for another day. I try not to do that.
That's cool. That's cool. No, I mean, and that drive, whatever that goal may be, that's what keeps you going. I mean, I've said it a couple times in the podcast, like this thing, it was 2 years before I finally launched this out, and it took getting through 6 other projects to get here, building this, building that, whatever it was, the group here, or working on honing my production skills there, and like it just, as long as you keep telling yourself, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. Now you're a little bit better than me because you set a timeline for yourself, man. I just kind of like kick back. I'm like, I want to get around to it. I'm gonna get around to it. But you're like, no, I want and by the end of the year, 500,000, or I'm done with myself. It's like, dude, that's
oh yeah.
You're chasing yourself right out of the tunnel, man.
Oh yeah, it's pretty.
You're like,
intense.
Get into the light. I'm going.
It's pretty intense, and like you said, man, this idea wasn't my first idea as well. I did this. I've built. I was into social media marketing and building accounts and selling them and building accounts for other businesses. I've been doing that for about 5 years. So, majority of the accounts were more like meme accounts and niched related, like, cars and stuff like that, and I was just like, you know what, man, like, this is fun and all, but I want more meaning behind the stuff that I do. And so that's when I geared away from, doing stuff like that, and was like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on something that I'm really passionate about and something that I've been through. So that way I know I can't give up on it.
Do you drive that G35 or G37?
The purple one?
Yeah, is that you?
Yes, that's me.
Dude, okay. All right, scratch it. We got like around 15 to 20 more minutes of this podcast, and we're going way out from depression free now, dude. I'm in a different world now because it's the car culture in Carbondale is awesome.
Yes.
Right? And like so I like judging by your car and by knowing who drives what, you pal around with Noah Folk and those guys. And I know what everybody drives, who everybody drives, how that all comes together. I'm a motorcycle guy myself because I like to go faster than you guys, but that's not even there. And I love it, dude. I just absolutely love it. So like have you always been a car guy? Like
I have actually. I have always been a car guy, and it's funny because, I had a Dodge Charger. It was a pretty blue, and it was sitting on 22-inch rims and matte black wheels. It was just beautiful. But then that was more higher off the ground, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go lower, and like just. Don't care, like the low life. Let's do it. Let's try it out.
Dude, I watched you drive that car around and just drag pipes, bro.
Yes, like 3 exhausts later. I'm working on my fourth
What was it
exhaust.
like when they were doing the railroad track construction for you? How awful was that?
The one that's like just past the train station. It was horrible. I remember one time I just forgot that they were working on it. And I was like, oh man, I'm late to work. I got to get to work. So I drove past it and it hit my undercarriage so hard that it threw my car back.
Yeah.
Completely. I'm like, oh my God. Did I tear my car in half? What's going on? I had to pull over and check it out, but it was the worst.
So do you have it plasti dipped, or is that a full-on paint job?
It is a plastic dip.
Nice. It's a good no, but it's not a jank plastic dip job, dude. It's a good plastic. How often do you have to redip it? I mean, are you a 6 month? Are you a year guy? Are you a 2-year guy? What's your?
Let me tell you about it. I got this wrap or dip done 3 years ago.
Wow.
And it's still holding up. It still looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It still looks pretty awesome. But now, obviously it's been 3 years and you're starting to see imperfections. So I'm looking to get a new color, which I can't tell nobody. But
they'll just know. If you have the new color, the whole town will know, dude.
Yes. The whole town will know. It's pretty crazy. I go into the stores and stuff, and they're like, oh, you're the Purple G guy. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't even know you. But yes, that's me.
Do you have vanity license plates?
I don't.
Okay, because if you like whatever your new color is, like that's what you need. You need to be like green G guy or red G guy, whatever it may be. Like
it's
that's
almost
good.
scary.
You're the G guy. I mean, it's a good looking car.
You can't. If I do any dirt in Carmel, not saying I would, but if I did, I will not get away from the cops.
It's true.
Because everybody know me.
Yeah, again, that's why you ride motorcycles, man. Don't talk about that shit, Nathan. So so my idea that I'm talking to folks, and that's another reason why I want to have you on the podcast, to like get you looped in on the whole Creatordale project and like the idea of having all different types of people creating content and meshing in with one another. And that's kind of what for me this was about. Like I could learn about you and how you're driven and how you operate, like and just talk about it and document it on screen, and then turn around and see what we could do with it afterwards. Now I'm like, okay, cool. I'm interested in the depression-free stuff because it's got a big audience and like I empathize with that. But like I think car culture is one of those things that is a huge draw. And there's massive car communities on all different platforms. It's not just Facebook. It's not just Instagram. It's not just YouTube. It's literally every platform has its own large collection of people that love cars and vehicles. And I'm a...
I wanted to get into that, that was my next step after depression free, because the car group that I'm in, they started their own brand
Uh-huh.
and a
What's the
page
brand?
as well. I think it's like Ice Cream Shop
Okay.
or something like that. And it's a pretty nice logo. But they started that, and so I didn't really want to step on any toes,
Uh-huh.
because if I knew if I would have got into that industry,
Mhm.
it probably would have just taken off.
Yeah, and they would have been like, "Why are you
Yeah.
coughing on?" Okay.
And I didn't want to like step on him. Someone was like, "Hey man, I'm starting this page, and
Yeah.
you just started this page, and now it's everybody's attention over there, and now." So I didn't want to like step on any toes. So I kind of like calmed down, and I'm just like, "All right, guys, just let me know, what you guys gonna do with this brand. Let me know what you guys gonna do with the page, because if not, I'll start it.
Yeah.
I have no problems with starting
Nice. Nice. Well, regardless, man, I would definitely like after this conversation and where we go next, I would love for you to tie
Yeah.
me in with the car group
Oh, yeah.
and your guys. Like I'm big on that. I would love to find a way to utilize the WTF Carbondale platform to raise that up, but also just get the car side of the Creative Darrell project
Right.
going. Like,
Right,
because it's
right,
again, man, we have the best automotive tech school
We do.
in the country, if not the world. I grew up
Yes.
just down the street. The guy that busted Toyota for the unintended acceleration stuff
Oh, yeah.
and the Priuses, like 15 years ago. Like I remember when Dave like moved to town and living down the street from him and whatever else, and being about his kid's age and all that, and it was like, oh man, Dave's taking on Toyota. Better look out for the ninjas in the neighborhood now. Like the Toyota's gonna be sending people to like cut tires.
Yeah,
and,
oh yeah.
have brake lines and all sorts of other stuff. Like, but yeah, no, I mean it's cool, man. And the Automotive Technology Center and just the other cool part is like in this car scene in Carbondale, people have taste.
Yes, we do have taste. It's definitely different though.
Where like everybody having at least good taste, whatever their different taste may be, they at least have good taste. Where does that kind of come from? Do you think it's just kind of being like the scrappy group of people
I don't know. I honestly think it's the where people came from, because
Yeah.
majority of the people are college students that came from all over
Uh-huh.
to come to school here in the automotive department, and they bring their car. They bring their car, and that's where we see different flavors from different places and stuff like that. And people here locally, we've always been fond of being different,
Yeah.
and we try our best not to be the same. Like, for example, I have a guy, one of my friends, he has the exact same color car as me,
Uh-huh.
but his is I think a 350Z,
Uh-huh.
and it's a Nissan, and G35 and 350Z, you can they almost identical.
Oh yeah, I mean you guys
can
are
switch
running
parts out
same
and stuff.
drivetrains.
Yeah.
And, a couple
So
other
I
things.
mean, he has almost the exact same color as me, but the gloss version of mine,
Mhm.
and he sits way, way, way lower. You think I've went through exhaust this guy, but
Is he stanced out too? Is he
oh
running
man,
like
it's crazy.
I don't get the Z guys and their stanced out
It's
stuff,
crazy.
man. I'm not a stance guy. That's me personally, but some people to each their own, I guess.
Yeah. It's the low life, man. It's the low life. Now, when wintertime come around, I am desperately looking for a daily right now, because I'm not ready for this snow. Because
Is yours just the rear wheel drive or is it the all wheel drive version?
It's a rear wheel.
Okay, all right.
Because I feel like that we're due for a bad winter,
Uh-huh.
and it will get cold early. So I'm not ready for that. So I'm wanting to put my G up for the winter and go get a hoopty or something I can just drive around for the wintertime.
Good.
Good.
Hopefully this will call out. If you're out there in podcast land and you've got a beater that you're trying to get rid of, hit them up, let them know.
Please
Comment wherever you are. We'll find it. We'll get you set up. It's got if it's set up for snow, all the better. No.
Change on the wheels. No, I'm playing. No change on the wheels.
Front wheel drive, but we prefer 4-wheel drive, all wheel drive. Man, you need to. My buddy, one of my buddies has an STI. I've always been a big Subaru guy.
Yeah, me too.
I like them. Get yourself like an early 2000s Forester.
Ooh,
something that you can just
yeah.
beat on,
Yeah.
something you can haul people and stuff around in.
Yeah.
And if you get bored with it, you just swap in an STI motor or like do the Tribeca swap into it. I think it's like the 3.6 liter
Yeah.
flat six that was just a monster engine in an ugly car. Like that's that's I don't know. We talk too much about putting some Subaru parts into other Subarus. It's a silly. I mean, you're a car guy. You get it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
that talk. You're always
They
trying to
sound
figure out
amazing.
what do I put in where.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So what's your dream car then? If you've got
Oh
like
man.
if you could pick just one vehicle that if it was always sunny and always dry and always 70 degrees, what would you drive?
I would drive a Porsche Panamera.
Okay.
I would definitely drive a Porsche Panamera or a Maserati.
What kind of Maserati?
Oh.
Are you talking like the 4-door, like the Quattroporte? Or are you talking like the Roadsters, or what's
maybe the 4-door.
Okay.
I've dealt with coupes for a long time, so I might go sedan with the 4-door. Yeah, I might go 4-door.
They're excessively priced, man. For a guy making FedEx money, if you really hustled and you cut some of your other bills, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you could get a gently used Maserati 4-door probably for like 30 or 40 grand. That's a high end new Camry money.
Oh yeah, maybe I go to my depression-free page and throw up a donation box.
Just be like,
Hey.
all right, buy depression-free's Maserati here. If everybody gives $1, I can buy 10 of them.
You can really. That's $400,000. That's ridiculous. That is crazy.
But no, man, and think about that. I really think the partnering of a cause with a product. I mean, cause-based marketing is the thing these days.
Yes.
And the other aspect of this is you've led with like a passion and a purpose before you've gone out there and like started chasing dollars with it. So figure out what like the ethical way to assemble these different components together, and then figure out how you can broaden your service with it, man. Like figure out, okay, well, if I'm reaching this many people and this many people are giving me feedback, and I can only get to maybe 30 or 50% of these people.
Right.
What can I do to double or triple the number of people that need feedback, but then put a couple other people in place to serve them beyond that? Shucks, I mean, you could probably even reach out to people at different schools, like people that are training in their selective fields and whatever, that are getting hours in, and be like, hey, can you engage me in this? Can you be a depression-free intern? Or I don't know. I'm not a professional, so I don't know how to put all those particular components together, but I see potential that you see in it.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely did not. You threw a good one at me. I'm definitely gonna take a look at that because I've never thought of something. I never thought of that. I never thought of that. So I would definitely take a look in that.
No, and you'll pick it up bit by bit, man. I've done more talking this episode than I wanted to, but you got me all excited, dude. Like especially when we kicked off into your Purple G guys. So that's phenomenal, man. So so I guess the next question is, in the car scene here, if you were to give a suggestion to like who's a person that needs to do this podcast that's a car scene person here, who would you say needs to be my way?
Oh, most of my friends are more like low key with their life.
All right, everybody's chill. I'm on board.
Yeah, they're like, nah, man, I'm cool, dude. Like, Fortnite, yeah, that's it. But I can reach out. I definitely can reach out because I think I have a guy or two that would be more than happy to come on this podcast.
Man, no, I'd love to check out and kind of start getting into that. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
So, like I said, just trying to tie all these different components together, and this is so cool because I had zero expectation to meet somebody that was already like, pseudo famous in my mind. You're pseudo famous in a lot of people's minds, man. Like, that's just neat. That's just neat.
Oh yeah.
So, so where can people find your stuff at? That's the other question that I haven't always asked everybody, but for you it's pertinent. Like, what's the name of the Facebook page? What's the website? Like, what's the easiest way for them to get to your stuff?
Yeah, sure. So my Facebook page itself is called Depression Free.
Okay.
And then I have a private group where people can go and share, different stories and stuff of their life. and that's called Depression Free Group.
Uh-huh.
And then I also have a website where I just post articles about like steps on how to deal with depression, how to cope with a loss of a loved one, relationship stuff, relationship related stuff, like how can you find out that your spouse is cheating on you, or like just different things that is intriguing that you can go and get information from. Now that website is www.depressionfree with one e.com. So FRE.com.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, that's it, man. I appreciate the time. This was an exciting conversation. I really enjoyed it, man. I always love this when I get to meet somebody that I've never met before and talk through. And
hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We'll check back in like a year and see where the movement's at.
I'll walk in there with a suit tie on.
You're like, let me tell you how I got depression free. All this money. But, hey man, it's better. I'd rather people spend $5 on a bracelet and talk with somebody through a Facebook chat that actually helps them out than going to spend $1,000 for a Tony Robbins session. Man.
Right.
I'm gonna just throw that out there. Like there's a value proposition to be made here that says I am more valuable and I am more ethical than this activity over here that's solving for a similar problem because people are missing this or missing that in their lives.
Right.
So anywho, tangent over. That's it. Cleva Fitzgerald, guest for episode number 8 on the WTF Carbondale podcast, where we talk to interesting people about their interesting lives, tie it all back here to Carbondale. And I think we did all of those things today because this man lives an interesting life, doing interesting stuff, and he loves being tied to this place, Carbondale. So I'm stoked to have him here. Thanks again, man.
Oh, thanks.
And
No
let's
problem.
see. As I'm trying to develop a whole like outro tagline. I'm not doing a good job of it, but I'm trying my best. So have a good one, whatever that one may be.